Good. Can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? All right, I think that's good. Wow, look at this kind of funky, crazy lighting I've got here. I'm under a neon sign in a shopping area, or like the, I guess the advertising sign for this shopping center. I am in Sherwood Park, Alberta. See, some of you know where that is. I travel all over this region of the province. I live in the big city, but I'm always around the suburbs, and one day I plan to move a little bit away from the big city to one of the smaller towns around here. So it's always nice to get out here to quieter spots. And it is the end of the work day, although I didn't do too much work. It's getting dark, the sun's going down. It's about 6 p.m. here. Still gets dark here quick in this region in Canada at this time. Days are short. But anyhow, thanks again for watching the previous videos. I hope you found my last video kind of interesting and amusing. Was quite revealing to some of you. I hope that it made sense and that you got something out of it. So thanks for a couple of you who have commented and liked the video, possibly shared the video. I appreciate that. Rockstar Zero Sugar Fruit Punch. Yeah, so that last video, along with some of the more recent stuff I've been talking about with the sexual confusion and the discovering of pornography at a young age, and how that may have tainted interesting choice of words, Denny, but may have stifled my growth as a sexual being, and maybe had a negative impact on me long term. I'd like to talk a little bit about adult content. I don't know if you're allowed to say porn a lot. I guess I'll say pornography or adult X-rated stuff that you may still be consuming. I've also mentioned in previous videos that I'm trying to get away from that, and I have for the most part quit that habit, which is not a good habit, as most of you know, but it is a fairly difficult habit to kick. And for those really unfortunate ones where it's a true addiction, that's a lot worse. I don't think I've ever been addicted to adult content. I may have found myself when I was younger maybe consuming it, especially early on in the discovery, like when the internet came on. One of the first things was adult content. So just the intrigue and excitement of having that content available 24/7 on your computer, even with the slow dial-up modem and the super slow downloading speed. And back then, like when I first started looking at this stuff, was maybe like the late 90s, when we had a computer in the home. Might have been like 1999 probably. And yeah, I still had the shitty modem. I think they were a little bit better by then. They weren't like the 1995 or 1996 models that were like really primitive, and there was basically no video yet on the internet. But yeah, by 98, 99, there were some videos, and they were thumbnail sites were the kind of like the big breakthrough at the time. And there were some sites where you could download longer videos, but they would take forever. And I think it was like the first MPEG formats. And I remember my friends like, oh yeah, I downloaded this MPEG and it was like 3 minutes long, and 3 minutes was like a crazy, it was a very impressive sort of thing to witness on your computer, a 3-minute porn video. But a lot of them were thumbnail things where it was literally like 10-15 seconds of a video, and that's what we were consuming on the post-internet days. But I had gone through a phase, obviously way too young to be watching this stuff even on VHS and beta, as I explained in my previous video a couple of videos ago about my sexual confusion. So there was that, and my history with pornography isn't nothing really too unique to especially people in my age group, the Gen Xers or the early or the young Gen Xers like myself, or millennials, like the older millennial. I'm in my 40s now. So it was just kind of normal, for the lack of a better term, for people my age to be consuming this at the rate that I did. And fortunately, I think people my age never got super addicted. I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I believe millennials and Gen Z really got caught up when it became so prevalent and the content was so far-reaching and so in-depth, and just the sheer amount, like the density of it, and just the endless thousands and hundreds of thousands of hours of content available 24/7 with different sites, different streams, different apps. The smartphone revolution made it even easier. So when I was first consuming this stuff, this wasn't, we didn't have any of that. So I can imagine growing up as that stuff was exploding, it got even more tempting, and I could see how it became an addiction and a dangerous distraction for a lot of people who are even younger, like people in their mid-20s, 30s now, that probably really suffered from this, what I would almost call an affliction, where this content, this desire gets the better of you, and it's really like a drug. It's like a very interesting drug, because it's not like other ones where you're physically hurting for whatever your hit of morphine or your opiates, whatever you may call it, or your strong addiction to methamphetamines to kind of keep your energy up and give you those kind of fake happy chemicals in your brain. And it's not, like coming home to view pornography is not the same as, let's say you have a addiction to crack cocaine or something, and you can't wait to get home to take the hit off the crack pipe, and then just that relief and that euphoria that you've been waiting for all day hits you, and that's what you're addicted to. That's just from what I hear. Just for the record, I've never smoked crack or done really any hard drugs, other than maybe experimenting once or twice with stuff that's a little bit on the tamer side. So, but from my research and from what I found, you are giving yourself a drug when you consume this stuff, and you bust a nut, you climax, you finish, and you realize after that you didn't really accomplish anything. You don't feel good afterwards, and that should be a signal, that should be a sign that what you're doing is unhealthy. And it's unhealthy for your brain, I think, be getting that sort of dopamine release in that way, and then it just kind of goes away, and you're draining your body of a certain life force that I think exists in you that is meant to be shared by someone that you have mutual attraction with, that an experience you could share with them. And that's a very beautiful thing, whether it's just for hooking up casually or a loving relationship. I think that those moments in that dopamine release and that energy, ideally in a perfect world, should be saved for those type of interactions with real people in real life. Now, I know that's obviously a lot more difficult now with the challenges in the dating scene and the society in general, things becoming a lot more fractured and difficult for men and women to get together and experience this. A lot of outside forces and influences have tainted the dating scene, and we are in a global marketplace, and it's a lot more difficult for your average man to find those relationships, whether casual or serious. And there's this divide between the genders now, and we're just not hooking up as much. We're not fond of each other like we used to be. There's some kind of gender war going on that I'm still trying to understand. It's almost like a resurgence of that men are from Mars, women are from Venus type thing, but it's like way more negative. I think that was more of like a, not so much of a battle, but maybe a celebration of the differences and the embracement of the beautiful differences we have. And I think the fact that like these extreme left-wing and liberal influences have tried to blur the lines of gender and this messaging that we don't need each other has had an impact on, like I say, people getting together and not seeing the beauty in the differences, but seeing it as a negative thing. And men are trying to become more like women, and women are trying to become more like men. We got the girl boss phenomenon. We got women that are intentionally trying to look unattractive because they don't want to fit, some kind of stereotype or whatever, some kind of new third wave feminism trends that are prevalent. You got like the nose, or the septum piercings and the face tattoos now that women are doing. They look like trying to be female versions of like rough male gangster looking guys or some shit like that. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but that's obviously not everybody, so it's you can't kind of lump everyone in that category. Yeah, and men are becoming more jaded and skeptical of women, and the dating scene isn't really providing what they need, and the expectations are too high for them to live up to, and for that reason a lot of men are dropping out. And then as a consequence of that, you've got an increase in pornography consumption, and it's a sad thing to see. And I just want people to know that, especially when you're over 30 or over 40 and your testosterone is naturally dropping, it's kind of normal, and there's things you can do to ramp it up, aside from some of the manufactured chemicals that you can inject yourself with. The diet, exercise, certain types of training, certain other supplements that are legal, and to increase your libido and your testosterone. That's all good. But another thing that is like a major killer of testosterone, I believe, and based on some of the research, is an overconsumption of pornography, especially in your 30s and 40s, because in your 20s, if you're consuming a lot of this content, I mean, you're so young and you have so much, your hormones are peaking, and you're full of life and energy, that you can kind of get away with it, even busting nuts once in a while to, some adult content. It's not gonna affect you too much, I don't think, even though if you get into the addiction part where you're doing it constantly and nutting like 2 or 3 times a day to pornography, yeah, you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna damage your brain, and you're not gonna be able to perform in real life with a lady if you ever meet one. And people have done videos on this stuff. It is a real thing where guys in their 20s, I mean, are having sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, lack of libido, interest, energy levels just crashing, just because they watch this shit all day. And then on top of that, they might be smoking weed. Their diet is poor, because when you're hooked on video games and pornography, and that combined with the fact you have no interest in putting in work and the effort to meet women, that's just such a recipe for all the life being drained from your body and frying your brain if you're doing this repetitively throughout your years, your younger formative years. And then, yeah, by the time you get 30, 40, oh my God, you're probably in rough shape. I mean, when I was in my 20s, there's like no way I'd have any erectile dysfunction. I had trouble keeping it down. It would just spring up on the times where it wasn't appropriate. And it's like, I almost had the opposite problem. I had erectile overfunction. I had elite erectile function. That's what I had in my 20s. No problems there. So it's fascinating that this phenomenon, this drug, this thing that they bestowed upon us to keep us almost catatonic, keep us in the house, and to stifle our male energy, to impede our desires to get out there and kick ass in the world, get stuff done, get things accomplished. And I'll tell you, it's like I've seen it from both ways. I've had the porn habits, and especially in more recent years, I've noticed these patterns, and this is how I was able to quit for the most part. And I want to help you guys watching that may be struggling with this. I want to help you kick this habit once and for all. And it may happen naturally on its own, just based on what I'm about to tell you. See, when you consume this stuff and you climax, or you fire off you empty out your clip, and the feeling afterwards is never great. You don't feel like you've accomplished anything. You don't really feel any sense of joy. In fact, once the drug wears off, that initial dopamine hit that you're getting, because when you view this stuff, it's very exciting. You're seeing stuff that you don't experience in real life, at least not exactly the way it's presented visually, and the performative aspects, and the production and the editing. That's all messing with you, and it's creating this fantasy that you'll never achieve in real life. So that's very alluring, and that's what hooks you, and it hijacks your brain. So that's why this stuff is very, it grips you. It's like a demon that that shows up, and like it's so tempting, and it just pokes at you and pokes at you, and it knows the pleasure the excitement you're gonna feel, and the distraction you're gonna get in that moment. Because when you watch this stuff, it's like you're not thinking of anything else. It is almost like doing a hardcore drug where nothing in that moment really matters. You don't have empathy for other people in that moment. You're not thinking about friends and family. Your spiritual side basically doesn't exist in that moment, or in those moments, however long you're watching this crap for. So you're giving yourself this drug, this dopamine hit, and the serotonin is being ramped up in your brain. And then afterwards, like I was just saying, it's such a letdown, and you feel like a loser. And these feelings will get amplified as you get older and older and keep doing this. When I was in my 20s and this would happen, it would be like, oh, okay, the drug would wear off, and I'll just kind of be like, oh, okay, well, is what it is. Let's just keep going. And after, a couple hours or whatever, I'd be kind of back to baseline. But the problem is, when you get older, if you're still doing this shit when you're in your 40s especially, since your testosterone is naturally down and you don't have the same energy levels overall, and you're dealing with your hormonal changes and your metabolism slower, and you just have a little bit less desire and motivation to begin with. Now this is going to make that way, way worse when you bust a nut, and you're giving yourself a reward for very little work. You're just firing up an app or clicking on a website, and you have this abundance of choice, and you could look at whatever deviant, twisted thing you're in the mood for. And as you watch it more and more, it gets more twisted and unrealistic and crazy, because the regular visuals that maybe you watched earlier on in your pornography viewing, it's just not doing it anymore. So it gets more and more extreme, and that for a lot of people gets into very, very dangerous territory. And for me, I've never been into anything that extreme or kinky or anything. It's just like kind of normal stuff. But even for me, I found I was searching out stuff that was a little bit on the let's just say unconventional. I was looking at stuff I was kind of curious about, and just once that happened, that was like another signal that I really have to stop this stuff, because those scenarios where it would never happen in real life, meeting a chick at the bar or whatever, is no way I'd take her home and then act out that some of those scenarios. First, it would require other women to be present as well, and they'd have to look a certain way, appear a certain way, and it's like these fantasies, they'll just never live up to reality of the situation. And these producers of this stuff, they know this, so they really go out of their way to manufacture these scenarios and pay top dollar for some of the more desirable women that perform these type of things, women that you won't see in your neighborhood grocery store every day. So yeah, that's what hijacks your brain, and it messes with you. So yeah, when you're older, it kind of sucks the life out of you after you bust a nut to this stuff. And when you're older, you feel less motivated. Now you really don't want to take on the world. And the recovery is way slower. I found that, after in more recent times when this stuff would still get the best of me, the demon would win. You're in a battle with these things. Addictions are just demons. Pornographies are demons. And we have to fight them. And there's a reason we feel shitty after, because they won. They won that battle. They got the best of you. They wanted you. They got you to do what they wanted. They manipulated and tricked you. And now you're suffering. Now you don't have energy. You don't have the drive and the motivation to get out there and live your purpose as a man, make some shit happen in the world, have some impact, make some money, improve your quality of life, succeed in whatever endeavors or other hobbies you might have. And that stuff just gets it gets pushed down. It gets killed. It's limp. You got a limp dick and a limp soul and a limp drive. You're a limp man after consuming this shit and wasting your life force, your sexual energy, your being is being drained by this demon and this computer. And it's not leading to happiness. You're not going to become a better partner for a female. It's not going to make you a better son or employee. It's not going to make you a better worker or more productive. It's definitely not going to make you happy. It's a quick drug. It lasts a few seconds. You feel this hype in your system, and it just crashes. It's like a sugar high, or a hit of crack cocaine or something. Now I know it's a different type of addiction per se. It's not the same as drug where it affects you physically. They both affect you physically, but just in different ways. Like I just described, just in a more, pornography hurts you in almost like a deeper way. It just is messing with your manhood. It's killing your spirituality. It's it doesn't make you a better person doing this stuff, but yet we keep doing it. We keep getting sucked in. We keep getting tricked. And I've tried to be completely honest. I'm not perfect. I've tried for a few years to completely cut it out, but it still gets the best of me from time to time, although very rare now. I'd say post-pandemic, so we're talking probably early 2022, when things were starting to get opened up again and somewhat getting back to normal, I, for the most part, kicked that stupid habit, because that habit was ramped up during the pandemic, which is another way these idiots that forced us to stay home and shut everything down. It's another way they hurt us that they don't talk about. We talked about the increase in alcoholism and drug use because we were locked in our house. But I would say probably porn addiction skyrocketed at that time. And so 2022 I've been pretty good since then. Only a handful of times, no pun intended, has got the best of me, but it was quick and brief, and I wasn't sucked into it long term or anything. But yeah, it's just evil, man. It's just some people can handle it more and they don't see a problem with it. And I do have kind of I'm not a full-on libertarian, but I do believe in personal choices, and if that's what you choose to do and that's how you live your life and get that sexual gratification by using pornography as a tool, and it's not hurting you too bad, you can still function and you're just happy just as long as you can make it to work for your 9 to 5 and doesn't affect that, then I don't necessarily have a huge problem with that. I'm just sharing my experience and my advice, and hopefully just hearing what I had to say about the negative effects is enough to motivate you to stop. I don't have any special tips and tricks to quit this habit. I would my other advice would just be to try cold turkey. Don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna watch it once a week and then I'll wean myself off. When it comes to that, I maybe stuff like smoking or diet, maybe you could wean yourself off that kind of stuff. Caffeine or something like that, which I'm consuming a little bit here. But yeah, I'd say with adult content, it's probably better to quit cold turkey would be my advice. Just stop it. I believe you can put parental controls on your browser and on your phone, and that could help, although it's not 100%. You could always log into whatever the control thing is and change it back, but that's one thing. Maybe just as a reminder, as kind of like a trigger, oh yeah, you shouldn't be consuming this. Or even just try to think back to this video, think about what I'm telling you and say, oh yeah, Denny warned me that this is why this is bad, and reminded me of why I should quit, so let's just stick to it. And the other thing I'll tell you that's interesting is what you don't think of is the benefits of stopping this habit. We kind of think of well, if we stop, I just won't get the bad things, but there's actually good, positive things that get injected, your sex drive will go up, you'll be healthier, your testosterone levels will go up, you'll be more productive, you'll have a different type of energy, you'll be more motivated, you'll actually be, believe it or not, and this is kind of counterintuitive, but you'll be friendlier and kind of nicer because you'll be more social. And that comes from a lot of the same parts of the brain and the body that when you're sexually recharged and healthy. I think sexual dysfunction and porn addiction actually makes you a bit more miserable. It's almost makes you more catatonic and more antisocial because you don't have that drive. Testosterone's not just a sex hormone. It's controls everything. Your ability to go to the gym, for example. That's a huge change I found is when I'd bust a nut to some porn and I was planning to go to the gym later that day, I would either not go, so I'm hurting myself double, or when I would go, the workouts would suck. They would be shit. I wouldn't feel motivated at all. I would just kind of go through the motions and do the bare minimum, and I was kind of miserable doing it. And I also found myself not caring as much about seeing attractive women, whether it's at the gym or at the bar or out in public. And for me, I actually like having that desire. I like having a sex drive present. And, you know, I'm not going to aggressively approach or, you know, like, don't do that. Like, be very careful these days. You know, you don't want to harass anyone or make anyone uncomfortable just because you're horny. But it's being horny. It's a great feeling. Like, it's makes you feel alive. It's and a lot of other things are attached to it, like productivity. You think like we went to the moon, whether you believe that's real or not, that's a different debate. But we build skyscrapers. We have guys that make millions, and we got billionaires and people shooting rockets into space and weapons and all that kind of stuff to defend our countries. Innovations, inventions, all this kind of shit, all this productivity is tied to men's sexual drives and sexual health. So that's very important. And if we're killing that we're literally killing that life force by engaging with the demons of pornography. And the other sad part is there's douchebags and dirtbags that are getting rich from this stuff. And you've got OnlyFans girls that are getting rich, although, like, you know, I think like 90% of them don't make enough from it to make a living. But, you know, there's 10% of women out there that are striking it rich because of lonely, desperate guys that are wasting their sexual energy on screen time. I would just cut that shit out. If you're watching, you're subscribed to any OnlyFans models, just end your subscription, block the website, delete your account, stop spending money on this shit. Go to some ma and pa store in your neighborhood. Help your own economy. Don't send money to who knows where it ends up in the world. It could be some other company that's managing this person's OnlyFans. They could be fucking anywhere. They could be in Russia. They could be in like Indonesia or Nigeria, or who the hell knows. It's crazy what we spend our money on and our time and our energy. It's just sad. And you're letting them kill your spirit. And it doesn't matter like your age, really. I don't think it's ever too late. You can turn it around, like I have turned it around when it comes to this subject. You know, I have other issues I'm dealing with. I'm trying to work through and still improve. Even at my more advanced age, I still have things I need to accomplish. And it's important that you keep out the unnecessary things that are holding you back from living up to your potential. And I think pornography is this like very overlooked, underrated affliction and problem that we have in society. And even a lot of like the men's help channels and stuff like that, you know, there's a lot of decent self-improvement tips, and they are talking about some of the hard-hitting realities of the dating scene, but they don't talk about pornography nearly as much. And I think it's got a bigger impact than people think. And just by eradicating it, I think we can move into the right direction. I mean, even if, like, let's say 1 million guys canceled all their OnlyFans and stopped going on Pornhub or whatever, the economic impact on their end, the amount they would start losing, would really wake them up and wake a lot of people up, and the world would start becoming a better place. So think about that. And, you know, I wish you well if you're trying to kick this habit. I encourage you to keep trying, and don't get discouraged if it does get the best of you once in a while. You know, these demons will come in, and sometimes they will win the battle, but it's up to you to win the war for your own spirituality, for your own life. And you can do it. Everybody watching has the ability within them to do it. You just have to dig deep. Don't be afraid to ask the Lord for help. He will help you. And you can do really anything you put your mind to. So that's all I would encourage people to do. Yeah, like I say, don't get discouraged if it gets the best of you. Just keep going. Don't dwell on it or beat yourself up about it. You can conquer this. Like, just think of anything else you've conquered in your life. Whatever you've accomplished, if you've had to work hard to get a promotion at some point in your job, have you lost a lot of weight? Have you ever had a fitness or diet goal and achieved it? That feeling you get, that's what life is about. That's the feeling us fucking guys should live for. That's the feeling we live for. That accomplishment, that purpose. Because we're here to do stuff. We're not here to be ignored and underappreciated. And I understand we are ignored and underappreciated, but we need to carry on regardless. And for our own souls and our own legacies, we need to get done the shit we need to get done, whether people like it or not. And anything that's stopping you from getting on your purpose, being the man you're meant to be, you know what the chances of you even existing are on this planet in this time, in this crazy, amazing time, and in so many ways, but also a challenging and sometimes dark time. It's like one in trillions that you're alive at this moment in time, and you're watching me, and I'm able to speak into this phone, this little camera lens, and share these ideas with the world. It's truly amazing. So keep that in your mind if you can, because letting these other forces, like I talked about, control you and steer you in the wrong path, it's going to lead to misery and bitterness and depression. And that's going to rub off on the people around you in your community. And that's going to spread. And we're not headed towards a very joyous and prosperous world if that sort of thing is spreading. We need to spread the proper energy, proper male energy, proper female energy. We need to get together, work together, appreciate our differences, and just kick some ass, even if it's at a very, very tiny level. Just make a little improvement in your own life, in your own household. And that's all you need to worry about for now. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, got something out of that. Maybe this will help you kick this horrible habit. And if you liked what you heard, maybe share this with people so they can get the message too. And I think the message is getting out there. I have a feeling, I have a sense that men are waking up in different ways, and quitting pornography is something that is starting to happen, and I think it's beautiful. And let's just keep it going. Anyways, cheers. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna do the healthier thing right now, just like a micro % of doing a good thing. And I'm going to the gym now to do another good thing. And I did not beat off today at all. So yeah, think about that. And if I think of more on this topic, I may make another video. It is an important discussion. So take care of yourselves. Be well. Be good to yourself. Get out there, kick some ass. The Lord is with you. I wish you luck, and I wish you to become the person you're meant to be. Peace. God bless you. Denny is out. Bye-bye.